Linking? Okay. All right. So today I'm going to demonstrate how to trim a bowl. And bowls are low, shallow forms most of the time. So they have a low center of gravity, so I don't even use clay wads to hold them on. I like to use these back grabber things. And they are from, I don't know how to pronounce it, XIEM Studio Tools. They're called Batmates. They're really awesome, but you have to keep them wet. So I stick it in the water and then I squeeze it out, and that makes it stick here. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start trimming is I'm going to look at the bowl and I'm going to kind of feel and get a sense of where the thickness is and what that interior shape looks like, because when I trim it, I want the exterior shape to match the interior. So I know that, you know, the thickness kind of starts around this point right here, and then I've got a lot of thickness in this corner that I'm going to take off. So once I kind of visually take note of that, then I'm going to place the bowl as close to what I think is center as possible. And then I'll spin my wheel. Now it's 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to hit center, so it's going to have a little hula dancer, a little wiggle. So I want to get that in center first. So as a beginner, the easiest way to do it is to mark it. So if I brace my elbows like when I'm going to throw, and I hold this tool here, and I don't let the tool move, but I let the bowl hit it, I'm going to get a line. And I know that that line was closest to the tool, so I have to push away from the center of that line. So I find the center of where that line is, and I push directly away from it. Now it doesn't take much. I'm just going to move it the littlest bit, and you might not even see it. And then I'll do it again. And my line gets a little bit longer. And I just keep doing that until the tool hits it pretty much all the way around. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't pay attention to the lip and whether that's centered, because you're not trimming the lip, you're trimming the foot. So I'm really paying attention to this part, and if they don't match up, try to ignore what's going on down here. So just little bits at a time, not big movements, until you feel like your tool is pretty much hitting it as it goes all the way around. That's good enough. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm not going to use clay wads. In other forms, you can wad little wet pieces of clay, or if you're nervous about using this, you can always put little clay wads. But I'm always going to keep one hand on top because I really don't want the piece to go flying off. And the first part that I'm going to clean up is I'm going to take the thickness out of this corner, and I'm going to define the area where the foot is going to be, where what the bowl is going to sit on. So trimming is scary fast, but it is easier when your wheel is spinning fast. I want you to pay attention to how my elbows are in, just like I'm throwing. I'm very braced. I'm using 2 hands on the tool. And when I use, this is my favorite shape of trimming tool, because you've got different areas you can work with, and I call this because it looks like a foot. So this part here is the heel, this is the sole, and this is the toe. So I use each part for a different thing when I'm working to trim. So I start off with that heel to define that area. Now this is the spot where I'm going to make the foot ring, and this is the area I just have to thin out because there was a little bit of thickness starting there. So after I get that defined with the heel, I'm going to use kind of like the toe and the sole, and just kind of roll that corner that I got right there and make it blend in. I guess I'd switch to the heel. It doesn't matter. I'm really mostly using the sole, so whichever you're more comfortable with. And if you do use the toe, you might actually make a little ridge there, which can be nice for when you're glazing, because it really defines an area where your glaze has to stop. So I'm just going to round around that shoulder and make it kind of blend in with the form of the bowl first. Once I have that curve looking pretty good, now I'm going to go in and establish a foot ring. So for a recessed foot, the foot ring is the part that just sticks up and what the weight of the bowl rests on. And I use my toe to define the foot ring. So this is going to be my foot ring, and I'm going to take all this out. And like I said at the beginning, I want the curve of the bowl to continue to match the inside. So when I trim a bowl, I don't trim this area flat. I trim a little deeper on the outside and a little shallower here because that matches the interior form. So I'm going to get the thinnest trim possible, which makes my piece lighter. So I go a little deeper in the outside, and then I leave this part. I have to take something off of there because I don't want it to be the same height as the foot ring, but I try to leave it a little bit higher than this so it's a curve. And again, I'm using my toe at first. If you are a beginner at this, then you definitely want to go slow with this part because you don't want to gouge your foot ring. It doesn't really matter if you feel more comfortable going from the outside in, so that doesn't happen. I don't think it makes a difference. Again, I'm still kind of going fast. The clay shouldn't really stick to the tool that much. It might be just a hair too soft for trimming. It should sort of peel away. But when I want to take a lot of clay off, I use the toe because it makes a pretty deep gouge. And when I'm just kind of smoothing it out, I'd use the sole to like refine the shape because it doesn't take as much off and it leaves a smoother mark. So I want them, that sound, I always mess this part up. The higher the pitch, the thicker it is. So you want the pitch when you tap it to be the same. So I think this is still, I got a little bit more room here because it's a little bit of a higher pitch. I always reverse that and say it the other way, but I think that's right. The higher the pitch, the thicker it is. So I'll take a little more out. Smooth it out with the sole. All right, so here, a lot of people finish here. This is maybe a personal thing for me. But I don't like it when the foot is square. And I don't think that the foot ring has to be thick either. So I like to thin out the foot ring, and often I roll the tool over it so the foot ring is round. I think it leaves it looking better, for one. And for two, I think it scratches your table less when it sits on something round instead of square. So I take those corners off. And I'm just kind of gently rolling the tool to make it a little more round. And then I also wet the area again, and if I have any marks from the trimming, I'll just go back over it and almost kind of burnish it with my finger just to kind of smooth it out. Soften any sharp edges. And that is it.